But what is he taking shelter of is a very important aspect which I wanted you to actually connect with this lecture or this clip. Just Hanumanji is taking shelter of Lord Ram, and he is looking at Ayodhya saying that now will I get some direction. And very surprisingly, he sees, oh, I'm next to Panchavati. He never explored that area. And that's how the problem solutions are. He said a beautiful point. Every lock maker makes a key. There is no lock made without the key. There is no problem which does not have a solution. But the problem is that how can I get out of that problem to search for a solution? Right? So someone has to be outside. Like for an example, now summer is starting, right? You see spider webs everywhere. And some of the mosquito get stuck in the spider web. What happens? It tries to come out that I want to get out of whatever is happening here. Can I get out from here? But it's not able to get out. The more it tries to get out, it gets stuck more and more within that one, right? Because he's trying to do based on his own capacity. But how can he or how can it get out if someone has to pull that from outside who is not in that web? Similarly, we are in the web of this material world. When we are in web of problems, we don't have a solution. We need someone from outside to guide us and actually take. Madhuri, आपका class है क्या आज? I'm so sorry. I should have asked you. Huh? So where would you do that? Acha, okay, okay. I thought you have Mataji's. Ha, acha, okay. We'll be done by then. So I'll go ahead and share the screen now, which is Bhagavad Gita summarized. Oh yeah, it's already there.
Yeah, I had a comment actually.
Please.
So you were asking why and what will um, Krishna is giving the solution, right, to Arjuna. I think it's well known in our own experience. Just giving lots of solutions to people, nobody uses. When they're in pain, when they're in ditch only, you need to use the help. Then you really realize that that's a solution.
Wonderful point. Yes, exactly. Amazing point. So we are starting with chapter 2, text 1 today. And I hope you remember what happened in chapter 1. So we are starting now. First verse, Sanjaya speaking. So Arjuna spoke in the chapter end. He gave up and now Sanjaya is speaking. So please follow along. Sanjaya vacha tam thata kripaya vistam ashru purna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha. Can you read the translation? I'll move it down.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, this is about Krishna spoke of all.
Beautiful. So, Sanjaya is explaining Dhritarashtra that Arjuna is full of moroseness. He is not able to solve the problem, and that's where Krishna is speaking. Prabhupada writes, material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance. Very interesting. One time, Prabhupada was asked, Arjuna heard the whole Bhagavad Gita, war started, and Arjuna's son is dead. You know about what happened to his Abhimanyu, right? What happens to Arjuna? Does Arjuna cry or he doesn't cry? He did cry. And one of the person asked Prabhupada, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, Hare Krishna, that's okay. After hearing whole Bhagavad Gita, I understood that I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Then why is Arjuna crying? That's an interesting question, right? Very important thing to understand here. Philosophy of Bhagavad Gita does not tell you that you should not be emotional. Because if I have a close person here, that is Arjuna's son, irrelevant of whether he is body or he is not the body, whether he is body or the soul, but the compassion has to be applied. One person will feel the pain what it is going through, not that we are just stones. So Bhagavad Gita doesn't ask you on the principle of that we are the soul that you ignore other people and forget about the emotions, like whatever happened in Kashmir today, right? So that does not mean, no, they are the soul, right? They died, whatever was their karma. Ridiculous. This is the worst idea one may have. thinking about, oh, you know what, everyone has go through their karma, so they just suffered about it. That's ridiculous. That's not the idea of Bhagavad Gita which is being spoken about. So though compassion is important, but where does the compassion has to be applied is an important aspect which we spoke about earlier. So compassion for eternal soul self-realization, and Krishna is being referred as Madhusudana because there was a demon called as Madhu who was killed by Krishna. And that's why Sanjay is clearly giving the indication to Dhritarashtra, don't think that Arjuna is bewildered now. Madhusudana, who is the killer of the doubts, the demon is the doubts, is already present there, and he is going to clarify that. You're with me so far? Okay, beautiful. We will move to the next verse. This is the first verse Krishna is speaking. Krishna hasn't spoken. So very important verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samupastitam Anaryajustam Aswargyam Akirti Karamarjuna. Translation, please. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopala Bhagavan ki jai. Nitai Pati Tapan Gaurari ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, please.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy."
Yeah. Arjuna is giving so many arguments. He doesn't want to fight and he want to leave from there. And Krishna is clarifying here. This does not, because one of the important thing which is referred as Aryan. Aryan is one who knows the purpose of life. And Arjuna is here listening and he understands what is Krishna saying. This doesn't befit you because you are coming from such a big lineage of Pandus. So it's a very important thing. You have to understand these responsibilities, that how to take care of these situations. Right? That is what Krishna is speaking about. So if we go ahead and read the purport, please go ahead. First paragraph.
Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagwan throughout the Gita. Bhagwan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Brahman or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this conception of the absolute truth is explained thus.
You're welcome to read the translation. That's okay.
The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth. All of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan.
Yeah, pause here. This is very important. There are different ways to connect to Supreme Lord. This is very interesting concept. I don't know if you heard that before. When I came to ISKCON first time, I heard this term Supreme Personality of Godhead. Have you heard that term before reading Bhagavad Gita? God or Bhagwan in Hindi is such a loose term in Indian language. Everyone is called Bhagwan. And that's where people get confused about. Sometimes even for very poor villagers, even someone provide them bread or something, that they say Bhagwan. So that's why Prabhupada chose this term. He's not just the God, he's a supreme personality of Godhead. A person who is supreme and who lives in his Godhead. This is where the abode is. So God can be realized, a supreme personality of Godhead can be realized in three ways. What are the three ways? The first one is Brahman. This is very important. Now we are getting into technicalities, right? So from Krishna's body, there is a tremendous amount of light comes in. That is called as Jyoti. So you see a lot of processes which doesn't have Krishna's picture, but they have a light and then they worship that. That's the Brahman Jyoti coming from Krishna's body. Some people say that that is the source of everything. They feel God is not a person, but he is a light, right? For an example, which is coming up in the next paragraph, you see sun. So sun is there. How can you perceive sun? With his light, but light is not sun. Am I making sense? Light is a representation of sun when there is a light. So for an example, nowadays the sun rises early, but when you see at 6 o'clock or 6:30, you don't see the sun. How do you perceive the sun? Because there is light. I can't see the sun, but there is sun there. How can I see? Because based on the light. Similar way, what is Brahman Jyoti is? Brahman Jyoti is the sun. Brahman Jyoti is not Krishna, but it is the light emanating from Krishna's body, and that's how it shows that there is superior person from whom this light is coming. So that's the first level of realizing God. Okay. Second, these are the people who are think that God is impersonal. Personal is the feature where Krishna has hand. There is a beautiful altar here. Krishna has earrings. Krishna has jewelry. But they feel Krishna is not a person. Krishna is the light. So for them, Krishna is impersonal. He's not personal. Second level of realization, which Jnanis target to, which we will read, what is Jnana Yoga, they feel Krishna is in everyone's heart as Paramatma, the super soul. And that's true. None of these things are wrong. But when you just take one perception and think that that is everything, that's wrong. Right? So Brahman is one aspect. You can attain God through Brahman. Second is through Paramatma. However, the challenge with Paramatma is, we will read ahead in those chapters, I don't have a way to talk to my Paramatma. Can I speak to my Paramatma? Like for an example, you see Prabhu is beautifully offering altar. He is doing arti of the Lord. He can reciprocate with the Lord. He can communicate to the Lord in that way. Don't think if we are not able to communicate, the other people are not. I want to clarify that thing. I remembered one day, our program starts at morning 5 o'clock. I was here singing, and the curtain opens when, like right now, the Lord woke up. So in the evening they will change the dress when the Lord goes to sleep, and morning with the same dress Lord opens, and then after the curtain close, they dress him again, like taking a bath and all that stuff. So I was singing. So temple president, I was singing Hare Krishna, and then after that I started singing a bhajan. And there were a lot of new people who were not able to connect to that bhajan. But I was ignorant, and I was just, because I liked that bhajan, I started singing. He came and told me they are not happy. He came and told me they are not happy. He didn't say that this, don't play this. He said they are not happy. They pointed to, you see smaller deities there, Gaur Nitai. He said they are not happy. Chant Hare Krishna. So I was put on aback, because for me, yes, they are deities. There is a knowledge aspect of it. There is a perfect realization. So knowledge-wise, I know they are there. They are not different from Supreme Personality of Godhead. But my challenge is that I can't connect with them. It's just the theory part for me. Am I making sense? But for him, it is practical. So same way, coming back to the second part, which is Paramatma, we cannot connect to Paramatma. Thank you, Maji. Yes. We cannot connect to Paramatma. It's just because we are not realized that. Not that you cannot communicate. There is a way to communicate to Paramatma. So this is what Jnanis do. Attaining Paramatma realization, which means isolating ourselves from everything else. That's why you see what these yogis do. They don't go to Detroit downtown to see what is going in Ice Arena and all that stuff. They are isolated. They live in Himalayas. They are away from people. They don't want to deal with people. They just want to live, because they feel happiness in that way, because they detach themselves from everything, and their only goal of life is attaining Paramatma. So first is Brahman, second Paramatma, the third one is Bhagwan. This is what our process is all about. So what is it? Bhagwan includes Brahman, includes Paramatma, and surpasses them as Bhagwan. So Bhagwan has the quality of Paramatma as well as Brahman. Like sun, there is a sun disk, there is sun god, and there are sunlight. So sunlight is like a Brahman Jyoti, sun disk is like Paramatma, and sun Surya Dev is actually Bhagwan. Just to connect these dots together, right? So that's the thing which is being spoken about when we talk about Bhagwan. So these are the three ways of attaining the God. Can you go and read the?
These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and the one who can enter into the sun's planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. The student who and the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the
Dentalist.
transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagwan feature of the absolute are the topmost transcendentalist. Although all students who are engaged in the study of absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter, the sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another, and yet the students of the
Sorry.
three different phases are not in the same category.
Very beautiful. So this is very important aspect. They are trying to understand the same truth but different level. This is a very important aspect because one has to understand what is the difference between these three things to realize God. And you will see various processes which pertain to different criteria. So we understand how is bhakti yoga different from that. For an example, a person who wants to go to the 100th floor, you can use the staircase or you can use the elevator. Not you will not reach to that. But what is the difference is the amount taken to reach to the 100th floor and the effort taken to the 100th floor. Similar way, Brahman realization, Paramatma realization are very similar to using a staircase to reach to 100th floor, which is the highest planet. And what is Bhakti Yoga is all about, or Bhagwan realization is using the escalator or using the lift to go to the 100th floor. They are reaching to the destination, but these two are taking more time versus Bhagwan realization you can directly attain. Am I making sense so far? Any questions or comments before we move to the next verse? Okay, we will move to text 3. You're with me so far? Okay. Klebyam asmakama partha naitattvai upapdyate. This font size is okay. Should I increase that? This is good, right? Okay. Shudram hridaya daulabhyam. Daurbalyam, very good, yeah. Tyaktvo parantapa. Beautiful. Translation, please.
O son of Partha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise. O chastiser of the enemy.
Krishna is giving a pep talk here. Arjuna is bewildered. He does not know what has to be done. For an example, we are just connecting back to the beginning of the class where we were seeing that clip of Hanuman. There are two ways one can handle the problem. One is you have a friend who comes to you, hey, you have a problem, let's go to the bar. Let's drink some wine, forget about all this stuff. Right, thank you so much for coming. And then, I remember that. I don't know, one time I did not mention the ostrich. When ostrich is chased, Hare Krishna, thank you for coming. No, you're good. When ostrich is being chased away by lion or tiger, it runs and finally what it tries to do is it tries to hide his face in the hole, thinking that the tiger will not see me. Are you with me so far? But what happens to him? Tiger laughs at him. devours him. He's killed. Right? That's how it happens. Similar way, when the problems happen, the tendency of people is switch on the TV, go to the bar, somehow distract yourself from the problem. That's what the ostrich is doing. But the problems of this life is real. And this is the very interesting point which I want to bring in, because today in the industry or in YouTube or whatever, in the material world, you see a lot of people who are motivational speakers. Gaur Gopal Prabhu is also covering that zone. So you see some of those talks around that, so that we can actually bring people to spirituality. That's a different thing altogether. What is a problem with motivational speaker is, oh, the problem, just try to be happy. Are I have a pain. You just now went to the dentist. I hope everything was okay, but I know when the tooth extraction happens, oh my goodness, the pain is, I had one, and I remember for 3 days, my goodness, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything. And I remember that. Now the question comes in is, if I have a problem, if my tooth is extracted, and this motivation, oh, that's fine, don't worry, everything will be all right. Hell with you, man. I have a pain. How do I handle it? The motivational speaker aspect cannot solve that problem. I remember, this is just after my wife's departure, I was here in the temple. There was another mother who came, she lost her son. And another devotee connected me to her. She was crying. Whoever introduced, she told her, saying that, he lost his wife, his kids lost mother and all that stuff. She was crying, and then we connected in terms of, what, ultimately, whoever has left, they have moved on. There is no way you can connect to that person. So now the question comes in, what can I do? Because I cannot do anything, right? Is that the end? No, not really. What I can do is, I understand what is the temporary nature of this world. How everyone, like some of these people who are being attacked in Kashmir, some of them just got married just a couple of days back. And very interestingly, my mother-in-law, she was living 1 mile away or 1 kilometer away from one of that person who died. She was telling, he was just got married one day before and he went. What did he go for? Oh, nice time. He's going for a honeymoon. No, Kashmir is a nice place. I'll go there. Who thought what is going to come on my way there? I remember one thing which happened. So I'm connected to another temple back in Mumbai. So these devotees, and maybe I'll play that video. It was very nice. Maybe today we played 12 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, but that's an important one. So what happens to these devotees goes to Muktinath. You know Muktinath place? You know about that, right? So Muktinath is on the Himalaya side. Very difficult to go there. It's not easy, and it's based on the scripture. It's not recommended to go to Muktinath until you wind up all your business. You go to Muktinath to basically get Mukti. You want to get out of it. That's it. I will not come back. That's the idea. So these people went. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. There was an air crash. All people left their body. Very painfully, whatever has happened, because the aeroplane was just fired and all that stuff, whatever had happened. So these devotees were very, very from different. There was one girl who was just 6 or 8 year old. She actually played a role in one of the movie in Bollywood. Very nice, cute girl. She left this world. So one person came and asked, why did it happen to them? They were trying to worship God, right? Why did it happen to him? We cannot speak about philosophy, but at the same time, a person, we will read Krishna speak in Bhagavad Gita, who attains or who actually take up spiritual life seriously. There are 4 kind of people who takes up spiritual life very seriously. Artho, who has difficulty in their life. For them, taking up spiritual life is a fast pace, because so much pain is going on. I cannot understand how can I solve the problems of my life. This is what is happening. Arjuna is already spiritual, but Arjuna is being given information from scriptures how to handle that situation. And the second chapter is completely focused on science of the soul. That is one way. Second kind of people is who are arthardi, behind money, behind facilities. Dhruv Maharaj was one of them. What was Dhruv Maharaj saying? He wanted a bigger kingdom than Brahma. So he came to Lord Vishnu, worship, you know about Drumara, the pole star, right? We talk about that. Still there. Still there. His planet is still there. So that's second. Third kind of people are jnanis, who are inquisitive. I want to know what is going on behind the scene. I want to know why do I have to study Bhagavad Gita? Like that way, there are four kind of people who come to Krishna, and fourth one are out of devotion. They just come because they want to experience that. What is this? Is I just a natural process for them. So here, Arjuna is being told by Krishna that don't just give up the such petty weakness of the heart which arises, O chastiser of the enemy. Right. So we will quickly read through, and then we will end with today's verse. Can you read?
Yeah. Arjuna was addressed as the son of Partha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a
Kshatriya.
Kshatriya declines to fight, he is Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of the Brahmana, Brahmana acts impiously, he is Brahmana in name only. Such Kshatriya and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives, but Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity a weakness of the heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by a person like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna.
Beautiful. Thank you. With the great position, there comes a greater responsibility. Arjuna is not an ordinary person. So that's why Krishna says, oh, this doesn't fit you because you don't belong to an ordinary people. You have to behave like that. Now, what is in it for me? That's the question we should have. When we practice spirituality, when we take the path of spirituality, we have a very high responsibility. We cannot behave or we cannot perform the acts, not necessary. Don't get stressed out with that, but I'm trying to emphasize an important point, that we have a higher responsibility in how we deal with the world we get into. What is the difference between a spiritualist and a materialist? Materialist means who has nothing to do with spiritual life. He has one way of dealing with the world, but the spiritualist has a different way of dealing with the world. If after practicing or hearing Bhagavad Gita, if I still behave like the ordinary people, however way they are doing, then something is wrong with me. That's what Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna, that don't behave like an ordinary fool. Because you are coming from such a great lineage, you know the real purpose of life. Don't talk about this thing where you don't want to fight. So the compassion has to be applied at right place, not that, oh, I have to be compassionate to everyone. For an example, a drunkard on the side of the road asking for a wine bottle. Oh, I have to be compassionate, he's asking for a wine bottle, that's going to kill him, right? Or similar way, like I remember, my wife, after the lung transplant, she had a lot of the pipes and all that came out of her mouth. So she was not allowed to drink anything or eat anything. But because she didn't drink or eat anything for more than a month, so she would ask me, can you get me ice cubes? So I wouldn't go. And then the doctor was very strict, and then she asked me. So I was like, okay, he said you can give her ice cubes, whatever quantity I was give. She said one time, can you put the chocolate powder, because there is no taste in it? And I completely understand, this is ice. I'm like, I don't know if doctor is, and I got a left and right from the doctor. Why? Because you don't understand what is the impact of that. What is going to happen to that person if she has it? Because lung transplant, we getting a lungs is such a huge deal. And finally a person gets the lungs, we don't want them to reject the lungs because of such small petty things. So similar thing is Arjuna being spoken about Krishna. Finally we are in this war field. We don't want to get into all this nonsense about not doing the fight here, right? So with that, we would like to end here. Any questions or comments before we discuss on chanting?
There's also a message here about Brahmana.
Hmm. Yes.
That says that if they don't do right way, right,
Hmm.
incautiously,
Very important.
which means they are not, they're the only title they will have, but they are not the actual Brahmana.
Very important point. Just to connect with Srimad Bhagavatam, which is another book, Parikshit Maharaj, who was the king, he went to the forest and he was thirsty. So he came to the ashram of Shamik Rishi. Shamik Rishi was in deep meditation. Again, coming back to the Paramatma Bhagwan, so he is focusing on Paramatma, right? So he didn't realize that Parikshit Maharaj is here, so he did not offer anything to him. And at the time, Parikshit Maharaj became angry and put the dead snake around his neck and left from there. So, son of Shamik Rishi, whose name is Shringi, he was a Brahmana, not by qualification but by birth. What had happened is, because Brahmana had a power at that time, that was taken away after this incident actually. If they recite a curse, even Lord Vishnu will not interfere. It's taken as so seriously. He cursed Parikshit Maharaj to die in 7 days. And when Shamik Rishi, his father, got to know, he became so angry. He said, Brahmanas, coming back to your point, need to have compassion. You know how, what is the role of Parikshit Maharaj here? Because he is there, Kali, the yuga we are living in, will not enter. Because Kali was there, and Parikshit Maharaj says, you get out from here, I'll kill you. She said, I don't know where to stay. Where do I stay? He said, four places you can stay. Anybody remember what are these four places? Wherever there is illicit sex, wherever there is gambling, wherever there is intoxication, and wherever there is untruthfulness. These are the four places you can stay. Kali said, there is nothing like that exists in your kingdom. And she said, okay, two additional places or one additional place. Wherever there is unlimited amount of gold collected, not in a right form, that is a place Kali can stay. And that is what had happened. So Shamik Rishi said, because you curse, now Kali will enter. That's how Kali Yuga started. And because of Shringi, the Brahmanas lost the qualification or Brahmanical quality of compassion from that period of time. So that's a very important. So whichever dharma we all are Shudras. Please forgive me about that saying that at least I am Shudra. I'll put it that way because we work for others. And our tendency is that little bit of Vaishya, I want to earn money and I want to run our livelihood. But king and Brahmanas are not like that. But now even in Brahmana, what happens is they do everything for earning money. Earlier, Brahmanas would not allow to take money from anyone. That's how the true Brahmanical culture was like that. With that, any other questions or comments? Okay. So can we get back to our chanting then? Okay, I'm going to end this recording.